Good morning to all dear students. As we have started with the chapter the D and F block elements, yesterday we have seen how exactly the D block elements are situated at the center of the periodic table. And we came to know D block elements will be starting from atomic number 21. They will be start from the atomic number 21. That will be considered as 3D series, and in total we have 4 series, and at the center of the periodic table they comprises the D block elements. Okay, so far we have discussed with the help of periodic table also in our previous video. Okay, today we will discuss some of the things in detail by considering the examples. If I go directly explaining you a theory part, it is somehow will be becomes very vast to remember and all. So I thought to give you certain examples to make the things proof. I'll be giving you proof for the sentences what I spell here. So very first I'm going to consider the zinc. We came to know yesterday zinc has got atomic number 30. I'll explain these things first. Later I conclude what exactly I wanted to tell you by considering these examples. So atomic number 30 having configuration 3d10 4s2, and I request and I must have to tell this thing that you need to know the 3D series electronic configuration, and it is very compulsory. And once you remember the electronic configuration for 3D series, it will be vast, giving you vast help for your coordination compounds also. So electronic configuration here it is giving 3d10 4s2. Can you see arrangement of the electrons? I have taken here electronic configuration at the ground state. I have written here 3d10. All the 10 electrons are stipulated, or they are arranged in the d orbital. As well we have one s orbital in which we have 2 electrons. So here for this state, that is ground state of zinc, we are going to provide certain amount of energy. We know when the energy is provided, the electrons will shift to the excited state. In the excited state, this excited state can also be called as oxidation state. In the oxidation state, the electrons which are filled in the d orbital are remaining same. They are going to remain same. Only the thing is the one of the electron of the s orbital is going to shift to the higher energy state. So as we have seen here in the ground state as well as in the excited state, all the electrons of d orbitals are completely filled. D orbitals are completely filled. Let's see this one next. That is cadmium. If you consider cadmium here, the electronic configuration will be krypton 4d10 5s2. It is also showing a same, very same kind of the configuration as we have got for the zinc. Getting? So all the d orbitals are here also filled in the ground state as well as in the excited state. Let's see for Hg, mercury. Again, I could tell here the electronic configuration for Hg, it will be coming around xenon 4f14, 5d10 and 6s2. Can you see here? Here also all the d orbitals are completely filled. And if you go for the excited state, there also all the electrons will get filled. And only the thing is s orbitals are going to shift here. Can you see all these 3 examples, zinc, cadmium and Hg, all are showing completely filled d orbitals in their ground state as well as in their excited state. So the reason why we can tell all these 3 zinc, cadmium, Hg are not transition elements. For transition elements, if you consider a proper definition, there must be a presence of one unpaired electron, minimum one unpaired electron, either in the ground state or in the excited state. Then only we can call them as transition elements. But still, why madam, why these zinc, cadmium, Hg are kept in a periodic table of a d block elements is mainly because zinc, cadmium and Hg are considered to be a non-transition elements due to their completely filled orbitals, but they will be showing a kind of properties which are entirely similar to that of the d block elements. That was the main reason why the zinc, cadmium, Hg are present in d block elements, but they are not considered as transition elements. And this question 100% can be asked for your board examination as well for your competitive examination. On the basis of this concept, you will definitely get the questions for your competitive examination. For each question you will be expect 4 marks. So in the second part of the this D and F block elements, I would like to tell you the explanation regarding this one. It has been given in a paragraph in your NCERT textbook. I made it short and I have referred many of the things and many of the books and all, everything, whatever the sources are possible from the social media I have referred and I have written here, and I'm going to explain the same for you all. See, copper, Ag, Au are included under the transition elements even though they contain completely filled orbitals. We must have to know regarding the atomic number of them, then only we can be able to write the electronic configuration. Once we write the electronic configuration, definitely will come to know whether they are containing completely filled orbitals or no. Say for example, I have here copper. Okay, so copper with the atomic number 29. Copper with the atomic number 29. What is there the electronic configuration? It is 3d10 4s2. It is as similar as that of zinc cadmium only, what we have discussed already. But the thing is, see here, we have d orbitals filled in the ground state. When you move to the excited state of this copper, the d orbital is going to lose one electron to the s orbital. I repeat my thing here again, due to very less energy gap between n minus 1d as well as ns, jumping of electrons will be taking place. And the same I explained yesterday's class also. Due to movement of these electrons from d orbital to next shell, that is ns orbital, here we will be getting one unpaired electron. In the excited state of the copper, we have got one unpaired electron. The transition elements to be, it is considered, for the consideration of the transition element, there must be minimum one unpaired electron either in the ground state or in the excited state. When you consider excited state for the copper, we will be having one unpaired electron. That is the reason why this will be considered as transition element. But again, you can consider here Ag. Ag with the atomic number 47. See here, in the excited state, as that of the copper, it will also lose one electron to the s orbital. Then they are considered to be partially filled. They are not completely filled, they are partially filled. Whenever the compound or the state is present as a partially filled, all are considered as transition elements. And similarly, they would also show certain kind of magnetic property also. I'll explain all those things later. Similar example, let us consider a gold, Au. And it has configuration. I have written here 4f14, 5d10, 6s1. Again, one electron of 5d10 will be shifting to 6s2. Then here you will be getting one unpaired electron as that of this one. So we can consider the configuration is as same as that of copper and Ag. Gold also considered as one of the best transition element. So next, if you consider, it is all about the melting point and boiling point of the transition elements. When you start from the scandium, it will show higher melting point values. When we start moving the series, it will show higher melting point value. Can you see here, when we start with the scandium, we will be having atomic number 21. Later atomic number is going to be increased. As atomic number is increasing, definitely number of electrons are also increasing. As the number of electrons are increasing, the force of attraction between the molecules also increases. Once the force of attraction is high, in order to break the bond between them, if you have two molecules, see here, if you have two molecules, you want to break the bond between. When they are strongly bonded, we must have to give higher energy. When they are weakly bonded, there is no need of high energy to be provided. In this case, due to increase in the atomic number as well as participation of n-1 as well as ns electrons is taking place, we need to provide highest energy to break the bond. Higher the energy provided, definitely melting point and boiling point also increases. So there are certain trends are there with respect to melting point and the boiling point. See here. So when we start from the scandium, that is first element of the series, initially it is going to show higher value, that is initially up to middle. Initially what will happen, it starts here like this. Okay, then what happens, it remains somehow constant and then it falls here due to increase in the number of electrons. You can see here from scandium you'll be having 1 electron in D, then it will give us 2 electron in D, 3, 4 and 5, so on. Then in the middle it will show completely filled type of. Then what happens when the rise of this graph, you can see here, it indicates that up to middle melting point, boiling point increases. Later it will be showing us a constant value. Then it is going to be increased. See here, trends of the melting point and boiling point generally rise initially to the higher value up to middle of the series, that is up to chromium, which is showing D5 configuration. Then what happens, it falls due to increase at atomic number, increase in the atomic number. So atomic number increases. Here we will be considering the shielding effect also. Poor shielding of the d electrons also will be considered, and the reason is that number of electrons which are initially increases due to shielding effect, it is going to remain same, then it is going to be decreased with respect to rise in the atomic series, rise in the series of the D block elements. Okay, so next point you can consider here that these transition metals have higher enthalpy of atomization. I need to tell you regarding one point, that is, what do you mean by atomization enthalpy? If you have one atom here and if you have another atom, these two are bonded by one single bond. Similarly, if you have one atom here, the other here, and it is bonded by one line or one bond, if you want to break the bond between these two as well, these two. Okay, let us consider this is A, this is B, and this is A dash and this is B dash. Okay, the bond breaking energy required to break AB is higher. Can you agree me? It is higher because the bond is smaller. Smaller the bond, higher the strength, higher the energy required to break the bond. Similarly, A dash B dash is bonded by one bond which is larger, that is bond length is more than this one. Bond length, that is bond length is more than AB. So we have to provide here very less energy. Bond length is more the bond length, less energy is given to break. This is a long pencil. In order to break this pencil, we have to provide less energy. But if the bond is between like this, if it is only this much, pencil is only this much, we would break it very hard. We need to give higher energy to break this one. So what I mean to say is, enthalpy of atomization is nothing but it's energy to give the energy to break the or to separate these two atoms. Atomization, these are combined together, they are called as molecules. Now we want to break them in the form of atoms, so it is called as enthalpy of atomization. So involvement of large number of electrons of d orbital and s orbital favor a stronger bond, that is stronger interatomic interactions will be there, finally leads to they will form a stronger bond. Stronger the bond, higher the energy required to break the bond. That is it. So wherever we go, we will be having some exceptions. Exception persons or exception things will always be there. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂಥರ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮನೆ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂಥರ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದರ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಥರ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಜಿಂಕ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಲೋವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಆಫ್ ಅಟೋಮೈಸೇಷನ್. ಎ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಆಫ್ atomization. Okay, so zinc has lowest enthalpy of atomization. Why? This is the question. Like this only you will be expect the question directly. By going the direct explanation I would have given it in this fashion, means it will be very clear for you. So I have written in the question form. So zinc, can you see here, zinc is, can you see me? Okay, zinc is 30, atomic number 30. Okay, so it will be showing us 3d10, right? We have argon. Argon is 18, 28, then 4s2. Okay, so 3d10 4s2 is the configuration for zinc. What will happen here? In the ground state it loses 2 electron as well. In the ground state it has 2 electron. When it moves to excited, it loses these 2 electrons. When it lost 2 electrons also, it is completely filled. Whenever we have completely filled configuration and zero configuration, those are said to be diamagnetic in nature. They doesn't show any magnetic property. I'll explain those things in detail later, don't worry. In the ground state, excited state, it is completely filled. No electrons are moving here and there. And if you provide higher energy also, they will be remaining in the same fashion. When there is no movement of electrons, there is no bonding at all. If there is no bonding, interatomic interactions are very less. When there is no interatomic interactions are present, and the energy required to break that bond is going to be very low. So zinc has lowest energy of atomization or enthalpy of atomization. So zinc has fully filled electrons, no metallic bond is formed, weaker will be the bond and less energy needed to break the bond. Lower will be the enthalpy of atomization. That's it.